Welcome to One-on-One with ExpertFlyer. I'm your host, Lisa Caslin. Did you know that there's a black market for your frequent flyer miles? Yeah, it's crazy. So stolen rewards points are a really hot commodity on the dark net, and we really wanted to kind of get underneath all this today because it's a kind of a complicated topic. So we brought along Paul Bischoff. He is a privacy expert and also the editor of a site called Comparatech. They do research, testing, and reviews comparing technology products and services. So welcome, Paul. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so you did a very, very comprehensive study on frequent flyer miles and what they're kind of worth on the dark web and how these kind of insidious characters are getting to them and reusing them. So I think it's a good thing for our followers to learn a little bit more about it. So talk a little bit high level on the study itself.
So we wanted to look at, put simply, how much frequent flyer miles are worth on the dark web, how much stolen frequent flyer miles are worth on the black market, essentially. So we went into several black marketplaces. I think we had a total of 6, and on 3 of them we found listings for stolen frequent flyer mile accounts, or just frequent flyer miles that can be transferred into your account. So we looked at the prices. We just gathered all the information we could that we could find across all these websites and kind of just put it all together and said, this is how much each of these different frequent flyer programs are being sold for on the dark web. So it's pretty straightforward.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean, I was amazed at the valuation. So you say on average, I guess the example that you used was it American Airlines? I think is worth roughly 15 cents per mile, but on the dark web, it's worth like 1 to 2 cents. So you can really get a deal on your miles on the dark web.
Yeah, I think it's it's about half of what it's worth legitimately. How much those points are worth legitimately. But the prices vary a lot. It's not really that closely tied into supply and demand or anything. It's a lot of it's up to seller preference, but in general, what we saw is that stolen frequent flyer miles are sold for about half of what they're evaluated at.
Okay, so how do these hackers, first of all, I guess they get to it like any other hacker would, but once they steal that information, the account, what is the value to somebody else? How are they using that? How are they allowed to actually use that? Because don't you have to prove your identity in order to use rewards points that are associated with somebody else's account?
Right. Well, normally, yes. So if you're booking airfare or a hotel or something like that requires proof of ID, it does. But for a lot of rewards programs, you don't actually need to show proof of ID to redeem other rewards. A big one is gift cards. So you can get a gift card sent to your house, and the person who owns the account will be none the wiser. And then you can use that gift card at local retailers. And there's a ton of these sort of offshoot rewards that you get from these reward programs and that's what hackers are usually going after. The other thing that we see that we've noticed sometimes is that the points are used for upgrades, such as like a rental car upgrade or a first class upgrade or something like that. Although it seems to be a little bit less common and harder to do now because of fraud prevention systems.
Wow. So yeah, and they're actually, some of them are they're redeeming the points themselves, and then they're selling the what is it, the actual benefit. I was confused about that.
Yeah, so that was actually a case in Europe or in the UK where Russian hackers would hack these accounts, and instead of selling you the points, they would actually redeem the rewards themselves and then sell you the rewards, and a lot of that was rental cars and hotels. That was a couple of years ago now. I did cite that article in the study, but we can't prove how people use these miles now, so that was just one example.
Okay, got it. Well, I think it's important to give folks some tips on how they can protect their frequent flyer miles, and I think you had several. Can you share some of the good practices that people should implement?
Sure. I think at the top of the list is use strong and unique passwords in all of your accounts. If your password is the same on your Yahoo account as it is on your frequent flyer account, and Yahoo gets hacked, then that password can probably hackers can put two and two together and use that password on all of your accounts, right? So it's important to use not only strong passwords that are long and varied, but unique passwords. Next one is shred your boarding. You need to, in general, protect your frequent flyer number. So that includes shredding your boarding pass, not posting pictures of your boarding pass online and on social media. Don't put your airline account number or your frequent flyer number on a baggage tag. And, just in general, monitor your account once in a while. Check into it once a month to see, make sure all your points are still there and they're still not being used by someone else.
Yeah, and I think public access to Wi-Fi was another one that you said to look out for too, right?
Right. Public Wi-Fi networks can be compromised by hackers. In many cases, public Wi-Fi networks are owned by hackers. They're fake Wi-Fi hotspots that you might log into and think they're safe. Generally, this shouldn't be a problem because hopefully all the airlines have HTTPS, which means encrypted communication between the websites. But in general, just to be careful, it's a good idea not to do any sort of financial stuff while on public Wi-Fi, and that includes getting into your frequent flyer account. Yeah,
agreed. All right, so I'm just curious, how do you get on the dark web?
I can tell you how I do it. I've actually written about this pretty extensively if you ever want to try it yourself.
Okay.
So basically all you need is Tor browser. Tor is an acronym for the Onion Router. And without getting too technical, it's an anonymity network. And you can only access sites that exist on the dark web through the Tor network or another anonymity network. Tor is by far the biggest. So you kind of have to know where to look. You have to scour all these different websites and make sure you're not getting, scam links and stuff like that. But as soon as you know where to look, it's kind of just like going to Craigslist and buying something, except you're using Bitcoin instead of cash.
Right. That was the other point. So everybody that is transacting via this vehicle is using Bitcoin or some other kind of cryptocurrency, right?
Right, yeah. Bitcoin is popular. The other big one is Monero, which is a little bit more lesser known, but more anonymous. It's more difficult to track than Bitcoin.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. It's obviously purely for anonymity purposes, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. So any other parting words for us with regards to this topic?
No, I think a lot of people have asked me about mileage brokers. Some people want to know if these miles can be if their own miles can be resold, or if people buy these miles on the dark web and sell them to brokers.
Can you do it legitimately, right? Can you do it?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a gray market. Most frequent flyer programs don't want you to sell your miles, and will even catch you doing so, it may wipe out your account. So I wouldn't recommend using mileage brokers. I think that's my last piece of advice.
Right. It's against the terms of service. All right. So if folks want to learn more about Comparitech, where should they go?
Comparitech.com. That's COMPARITECH.com.
Excellent. So good to talk to you, Paul. Thanks so much. And we want to have you back again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.